Africa was really described by different tribes. It wasn't a whole monolithic society, but eventually they named Africa after a European.
Africa was not called Africa. It's actually named after the one who actually conquered the Carthaginian, Scipio Africanus. So they usually, the Roman types of system is that the conquering general gets to name the region he conquered. He gets his name to be placed on that region. So Scipio Africanus they named a certain terrain after him. So everybody just said, well, they just call it Africa or Africanus. So Scipio Africanus they named a certain terrain after him. So everybody just said, well, they just call it Africa or Africanus. They named a certain terrain after him. So everybody just said, well, they just call it Africa or Africanus. So everybody just said, well, they just call it Africa or Africanus.
There comes into his court an ambassador from Tunisia in Spain, and a young man who was later be called Leo Africus. And on his way back to Spain, he is captured by Christian pirates. Remember, in the Mediterranean, Christians were capturing Arabs and Arabs were capturing Christians. And he was captured by Christian pirates, and he was so intelligent, they gave him as a present to Pope Leo. And that's why he got the name Leo's African. Leo's African. And he's known as Leo Africanus. The Pope hired him to write a history of the Western Sudan. And he wrote a history of what was happening in Songay. And except for having the rivers running the wrong way, it was a pretty good history called the History and Description of Africa. And he introduced the glory of Africa to the Europe of that day. It was great ambassadors, a great state. He described the University of Timbuktu, the University of Sankore at Timbuktu, and its great scholars. He described the emperor and what he was doing for the university, endowing great chairs. He described the fact that the universities and the scholars were so great that many times Arabs came to the university to get jobs, but they weren't even qualified. The great masters at the university could teach 10 subjects and teach them well. And the Arabs wasn't even qualified to teach such subjects. This was medieval Africa at its best and at its height, while Europe was rehearsing to go into the slave trade. These Africans were winning and moving. This was Africa taking her last great walk in the sun. Now you can understand.
The land. One commonly used explanation is that Africa was named after a Roman conqueror called Scipio Africanus. You would assume that most pro-Black or Pan-Africanists wouldn't want to be called after a European conqueror, right? But was Africa really named after a Roman general? Long story short, no. Scipio Africanus was actually born Publius Cornelius Scipio. He was named after his father of the same name. So he was technically Publius Cornelius Scipio Jr., and his mother was named Pomponia Scipio. His last name is actually just Scipio. So how did he get the name Africanus? The name Africanus was given to him after he returned from his African invasion. Africanus was his nickname. Africanus was given as a title of honor for military achievements on African soil. This is easy to fact check, simply because Publius wasn't born with the name Africanus. Just like Julius Caesar was called Julius Caesar Germanicus, because he invaded modern-day Germany, aka the victor in Germania. Marcus Ulpius Trajanus Dasychus, meaning victor in Dacia. Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus, meaning victor in Africa. So
understand why all of this is left out of history. Because when people want to conquer you, they destroy your confidence and your historical memory. They don't want you to believe in this. They don't want you to know when you manage nations, big nations, as big as the United States, and did it exceptionally well.